Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time when silence is no longer strength, when neutrality becomes surrender, and when comfort turns into complacency. That time is now. We stand at a crossroad between courage and conformity, between truth and convenience. And in this moment, every one of us must decide not what the world expects from us, but what our conscience demands of us. Courage over comfort is a choice that defines the destiny of individuals and nations alike. It is the line that separates those who dream from those who act. In every age, there comes a moment when a person must decide whether to remain silent and safe, or to stand up and speak with conviction, even when the world refuses to listen. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. It is that quiet strength that pushes a person forward when everything around whispers, "Stay still." Comfort is easy. It lulls the spirit into passivity and convinces the mind that safety is purpose. But courage, true courage, demands movement, sacrifice, and the willingness to face uncertainty with a steady heart. Those who choose courage over comfort are rarely the loudest, but they are always the ones who move history. They are the people who dare to speak truth in times of deception, who protect what is right when it is most unpopular to do so, and who build when others are content to watch things fall apart. Courage is the invisible bridge between faith and action. It is the conviction that even if one voice trembles, it can still shake the conscience of a crowd. In our modern world, comfort has become a quiet cage. We scroll, we agree, we avoid conflict, and we call it peace. But peace built on avoidance is fragile. It breaks the moment truth demands to be heard. Real peace is built by those who are brave enough to confront falsehood, to challenge decay, and to endure discomfort for the sake of something greater than themselves. Courage does not wait for the right moment. It creates it. It doesn't need permission from the majority. It moves with the authority of purpose. Every great change begins with one courageous step taken against the current. Every voice that refuses to bow to fear adds a spark to the fire of freedom. Courage, in its purest form, is service to truth. It is love in motion, the willingness to endure struggle so that others may stand taller tomorrow. The person who chooses courage over comfort carries not only their own dreams, but the hope of all those who are still afraid to rise. It is through such acts of bravery that societies renew themselves, that justice breathes again, and that humanity remembers what it means to be truly alive. Purpose over popularity is a principle that separates the visionary from the follower, the builder from the performer. It is the understanding that the value of one's life is not measured by applause, approval, or fame, but by the depth of meaning behind one's actions. Popularity is a fleeting shadow that changes with time, trends, and public moods, but purpose is an unshakable foundation. It is the fire that continues to burn when the lights of recognition fade. Choosing purpose over popularity requires strength because it often means walking alone, misunderstood, or even criticized for standing firm in truth. Yet, it is within that solitude that clarity is born and character is tested. A person driven by popularity will say what others want to hear, do what is convenient, and chase validation as if it were victory. But a person guided by purpose understands that real success is not in being liked. It is in being true. Popularity can open doors for a moment, but purpose builds paths that last for generations. The world celebrates the famous, but it follows the purposeful. Every leader, thinker, and reformer who shaped history did so not by seeking to please the crowd, but by daring to disappoint it when truth demanded it. Purpose gives direction to talent. It transforms ability into legacy. It teaches the heart to endure criticism, rejection, and doubt because it knows that the pursuit is greater than the praise. When a person lives for purpose, they no longer need to chase the crowd. They become the compass the crowd looks toward when lost. Popularity feeds the ego, but purpose feeds the soul. The ego wants comfort, attention, and constant validation. The soul wants impact, honesty, and growth. One fades with time, the other deepens with every act of courage and compassion. The world often confuses noise with importance, but the loudest voices are not always the most meaningful ones. Many who are celebrated today will be forgotten tomorrow, while those who quietly followed their calling will be remembered for what they built, protected, and inspired. Purpose does not demand attention, it demands consistency. It calls for daily commitment to principles, even when the world rewards pretenders. When you choose purpose over popularity, you trade temporary approval for eternal influence. You begin to live not as a reflection of what others expect, but as a testament to what you truly believe. Integrity is priceless because it is the one treasure that cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. It is the invisible backbone of character, the quiet force that shapes how we act when no one is watching. In a world overflowing with noise, competition, and pretense, integrity stands as a rare and unshakable quality. It is not measured by success, wealth, or recognition, but by the ability to remain honest, fair, and faithful to one's values even when it costs something. Integrity is not about perfection, it is about consistency. It means showing up with truth in your heart, even when lies would make life easier. Integrity demands courage because it asks us to choose the harder path, the one that may not bring instant rewards, but always brings lasting peace. It means saying no when the world tempts us to say yes for convenience or gain. It is the art of standing tall when others bend to pressure, of keeping promises when breaking them would be easier, and of speaking truth when silence might protect us. In every small decision lies a test of integrity, and how we respond shapes the trust others place in us. Once trust is broken, it can take years to rebuild, but a life of integrity earns respect that outlives reputation. People often chase influence, forgetting that true influence comes from credibility. Integrity is what gives words their power. Without it, even the loudest message rings hollow. A person of integrity does not need to shout to be believed. Their actions speak louder than their voice ever could. They understand that success built on deceit is failure in disguise. Wealth without integrity is poverty of the soul. Power without honesty is weakness pretending to be strength. When integrity leads the way, every achievement becomes more meaningful, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to prove authenticity. Integrity also brings freedom. Those who live truthfully do not carry the burden of lies or the fear of being exposed. They walk with calmness and clarity because they have nothing to hide. They are not swayed by the changing winds of public opinion or fear of judgment. They live by principle, not popularity, and in doing so, they earn the quiet confidence that comes only from self-respect. Integrity is the foundation of all real leadership, the heart of trust, and the essence of moral strength that allows humanity to move forward with dignity and honor. To stand firm in conviction is to root oneself in truth, even when the world around trembles. It is the strength to remain unshaken when pressure, fear, or doubt tries to move you. Conviction is not stubbornness, it is clarity. It is knowing who you are, what you believe, and why you will not trade your values for comfort or approval. Those who stand firm are not always the loudest, but they are the ones who give direction when others are lost in uncertainty. In moments of chaos, conviction becomes the anchor that keeps a person steady amid the storm of opinions and temptations. Standing firm does not mean resisting change or ignoring growth. It means holding on to what is right while adapting with wisdom. It is the refusal to compromise moral ground for temporary advantage. Many drift with the current because standing still against the tide requires strength. It is easier to blend in, to follow trends, and to silence truth than to risk standing apart. Yet history remembers those who stood for something when everyone else bowed to convenience. Conviction gives life meaning because it ties action to belief, transforming ordinary moments into acts of courage. When one stands firm, they send a message that integrity still matters, that truth still has defenders, and that not everything can be bought or persuaded. Conviction is not built in the comfort of approval, but in the fire of opposition. Every challenge faced without surrender strengthens the core of character. Those who stand firm inspire others not through speeches, but through the quiet example of their resilience. They prove that one person, guided by conviction, can resist the weight of 1,000 doubts. Standing firm also requires humility. It is not about pride or defiance, but about serving something greater than oneself, a principle, a vision, or a moral duty. Conviction is not arrogance, it is alignment with truth. It means acting with honor even when no one applauds, and holding the line when compromise feels easier. The person who stands firm becomes a light in dark times, a reminder that conviction is the soil from which courage grows. In a world that celebrates flexibility even at the cost of truth, standing firm is an act of quiet rebellion, a declaration that some things are still worth protecting, defending, and believing in no matter the consequence. To lead with faith and not fear is to walk through uncertainty with purpose, rather than panic. It means believing in a vision that cannot yet be seen and trusting that strength will emerge through struggle. Leadership born of fear seeks control. Leadership born of faith seeks growth. Fear reacts to circumstances, but faith responds with conviction. A leader guided by faith does not ignore challenges, but faces them with calmness rooted in understanding that every storm eventually passes, and that courage is forged in adversity. Faith gives direction when facts seem unclear, and it provides endurance when obstacles appear too large to overcome. When fear leads, decisions are driven by doubt and insecurity. People grasp for safety, hesitate to act, and retreat from responsibility. Fear narrows perspective and blinds the heart to possibility. But faith widens the horizon. It teaches that no difficulty is permanent and no failure defines the future. To lead with faith is to act with trust that every effort grounded in truth and integrity will bear fruit in its time. It means making choices not from anxiety about losing, but from the conviction of serving something greater than oneself. A leader driven by faith carries light where others see only shadows. Such a person understands that uncertainty is not an enemy but a teacher. They know that fear will always whisper reasons to stop, yet faith will quietly remind them to move forward. Leading with faith means believing in people even when they doubt themselves, believing in progress even when it is slow, and believing in purpose even when the path feels lonely. It is the ability to inspire hope in those who have lost it, and strength in those who feel weak. Faith does not eliminate fear, it transforms it into courage. It turns hesitation into motion and despair into determination. The one who leads with faith knows that leadership is not about having all the answers, but about carrying conviction when others lose direction. Faith builds trust, and trust builds unity. It replaces panic with patience and self, interest with service. In times of uncertainty, people follow not those who shout the loudest, but those who believe the deepest. Faith makes that belief visible. It is the quiet force that steadies the hand, lifts the spirit, and reminds both leaders and followers that hope is stronger than fear, and conviction always outlasts doubt. Action speaks louder than words because the world listens more closely to what you do than what you say. Words can inspire, but without the weight of action, they fade into noise. Action is the proof of conviction, the living evidence of belief. Many speak of change, promise commitment, and express passion, but only those who act give meaning to their message. The most powerful leaders in history were not defined by speeches alone, but by the choices they made, often when no one was watching. Action is the bridge between intention and impact. It is where ideals are tested and transformed into reality. When action follows words, credibility is born. People learn to trust not the rhetoric of ambition, but the consistency of behavior. In every sphere of life, leadership, service, or personal growth, words create direction, but actions build destiny. A person who acts with integrity, courage, and perseverance does not need to declare their values repeatedly. Their behavior announces it to the world. Action does not require applause or validation because its power lies in quiet consistency. While talk fills rooms, action fills lives with meaning. It speaks to the heart more clearly than any speech ever could. Those who rely only on words often live in the realm of intention, but those who act move the world forward. Action transforms thought into progress, vision into achievement. It is through daily, deliberate effort that dreams begin to breathe. No transformation, personal or societal, ever began with words alone. It began when someone decided to step forward, take risk, and act despite uncertainty. Action has an energy that words cannot replicate. It builds momentum, influences others, and inspires movement. The power of example can ignite more change than 1,000 declarations. To act is to lead, even silently. It is to understand that conviction demands expression through effort. A person who acts stands as a mirror of their beliefs, proving through perseverance that values are not theories. They are habits lived out in time. Action separates the genuine from the performative, the committed from the convenient. It is the daily discipline of aligning deeds with principles. In the end, the world remembers not what was said, but what was done. Every meaningful achievement, every moral victory, every enduring legacy was built not on speeches, but on the steady strength of consistent action that spoke more powerfully than any words ever could.